Janice Hahn, and I'm a member of Congress from California, and for one day I traded my Nissan Leaf all-electric vehicle for an F-150 crew cab, gas-guzzling, hard-to-park truck.
And I'm Rodney Davis. I represent the 13th District of Illinois, and I traded for one day my lovely Ford F-150 crew cab that I really enjoy driving up and down the rural roads of my district for a fully electric Nissan Leaf.
Actually, Rodney, I had a good day. I enjoyed driving it. You're up high.
Yep.
You kind of feel like if anybody were to run into you, you would be unaffected. So I did enjoy it. A couple of things were a little unnerving to me. One was, how do you park that thing? I had one meeting where I literally was late because I drove around the parking lot. There was no space even close to accommodating it. Then I went outside to the streets in Los Angeles, and the lines that mark the space with the meters, there was none of them that would have accommodated the size of this truck. So I finally drove blocks away to an abandoned parking lot where I found enough room
Are you
to
telling
park
me
that thing.
that the LA Department of Public Works discriminates against Ford F-150 crew cabs?
Apparently. Wow. Apparently. There was no place to park.
That's the reason why we wanted to do this, because the policies that have been enacted in Washington over the years have not kept up with the different regional transportation needs that we saw in our one-day
And
trade.
I think you're going to speak to one of them on a big issue that I think we need to address.
Well, and one of the things that I will tell you, I have had so many people come up to me because they saw the social media post that I was trading my truck for a Nissan Leaf. People ask me where the Nissan Leaf is still today. So it was an issue that people care about. It's an issue that people talked about. And I got to admit, I like driving the Leaf. I picked it up in Champaign, Illinois. I got to thank Illini Nissan for allowing me the opportunity to rent it for a day, and Charlie Chaplin and Lou Reed, who were very much a big help training me how to actually turn it on, shift it with the little gear shifter,
right.
which is a lot different than my gear shifter.
True.
And it actually was a fun drive. The problem I ran into, though, is I just didn't have the ability to drive it home because my district is so much larger than Janice's. I couldn't drive the car from around for our meetings in Champaign and then have it charged enough to drive the 90 miles back to my hometown of Taylorville.
So what would you have liked to have seen more of?
I would like to see more charging stations. And as technology grows, I think you'll start to see more charging stations. But there's really, unfortunately, there's not a lot of demand for larger parking spaces in Los Angeles. There's not a lot of demand for charging stations in Central Illinois. And when I pulled into a parking deck to charge it while I was at one meeting, I was the only one using the charging station. And I do want to remind you, though, those charging stations burn coal in Illinois, and they're powered by nuclear power. So we still have to have the baseload generating capacity to deal with the new technology. And I think we both agree, electric technology in vehicles is going to get better. And we're going to have to actually be prepared for that.
Sure, they're going to build better batteries. But in California alone, in the last 4 years, we've sold over 100,000 electric vehicles. And wow. It has not kept up. The demand for the charging station has not kept up with on the side of folks buying them. So I am actually introducing today a bill called E-Car Act, the E-Car Act, which will provide tax incentives to businesses, particularly commercial retail businesses, and possibly homes, to install electric charging stations. So I think that's a good idea because I think it's a little bit about the chicken and the egg. Maybe people aren't buying electric vehicles because they know the infrastructure does not exist, and it's unnerving to be driving that and realize you can't get home. I understand you actually had to change the day you did it because you were going to be doing a meeting in the community where there were no charging stations available. So
yeah.
I learned a lot in walking a day in your shoes. On your wheels.
Yeah,
I learned a lot, and it really made me understand the different transportation needs across this country.
And that's exactly was our goal by doing this. And it's great to have such a a bipartisan good relationship to be able to talk about the different needs that my district has compared to hers. And as we go into the debate over the highway reauthorization and transit reauthorization, we need to take what we learned just by our small day of doing this and take it into consideration when we talk about the future of policies, especially when it comes to our roads, our bridges, and our transit system. And I'm looking forward to the challenge.
I am too, and I think the exchange that we did for a day really will help us educate the rest of our colleagues on looking at this a little bit differently and a little bit more soundly in terms of a revenue stream that really will keep up with the needs of our infrastructure.
Well, I hope so, and it was great doing it with you. Thanks for being such a good friend.
Ditto.
Hey, did you get the Sierra Club Award while you were driving my truck?
As a matter of fact, there was a Sierra Club event that night, and I turned that truck back in before I
You big
went there.
chicken.
You're right about that.
She's a chicken.
Yes, I am.